So hello everyone, welcome back to Pommyinoz. Hope we're all doing excellent today. It's Monday, 2 videos in 2 days. Tell you what a privilege. And it's the VFL wrap, Carlton versus Geelong, as we can see. And we'll go into a bit about the game and also the players. But it was a real difference, really, of game between the AFL and the VFL. Carlton were really impeccably dominant. You really did see the gulf of class in Carlton, winning by 11. They came out of the blocks absolutely firing. Got out, opening 5 goals of the game. Geelong pegged us back, but Carlton ended up winning by 11, snatching it at the death. Real important game for Carlton as well in their finals hunt, as McDonald returned and Mark Pitnet both did really well. It was a real physicality battle between the two sides. It was really that battle of the midfields. They really crunched hard and really looked to take the game on, particularly in the first as well. The AFL boys really stood out. Lockie O'Brien looked really strong as well. Was involved in just about 4 of the 5 of the goals in there. And looked super strong throughout and really looked to take the game on at all opportunities. In the end, there was a few issues. Ed Kerno went off in the end of the first. He's been probably ruled out for the season. It was good to see Big Dom go forward as well. Their work around the stoppages was really impressive. And centre clearance, you can see that is really transcending from Voss's AFL Carlton to the senior to the reserve side. It was great to see as well Ben Crocker back as well. He was really strong and he's a real focal point. You can see that they've missed him. In the end, the Cats came hard, but they were too good in the end, Carlton. And it was quite interesting just at the end. Mitch McGovern swung forward, which you would suspect is maybe something that the seniors may be looking at. I do think that most top teams do have that person that you can swing forward from down back. A great example at the moment in recent times is Harry Himmelberg. But let's have a look at the individual players, because there were some really good performances. And we start off with the man that we probably talk about every VFL game, and that is none other than Paddy Dow. 31 touches for him, 10 kicks, 21 handballs, 3 marks, 2 tackles, 5 clearances, 5 inside 50s. I genuinely liked his game this week. It was really solid, particularly seeing how he linked up. There's a few moments, particularly when the game got tough in the 4th, where I think he tries to do too much with it, but it was a really solid VFL game. Really solid. He found the ball. He looked to work it out. I find him in clearances though. And you can see that how the AFL play, the VFL mirror in the centre. And you can see that he kind of plays that kind of... It's almost like a pseudo George Hewitt, pseudo Kennedy role. Where part of him's trying to get in the way and get there first. But the other part is him trying to distribute. And I find that sometimes he kind of tries to do too much. You can see that they're trying to coach that natural instinct of breaking away. Now, that breakaway doesn't suit Carlton's system. It does suit other systems in the AFL, but that's not how Carlton play. Carlton look to get it out the back, feed it, and do it that way. But that being said, it was a very solid game, and he's tracking along nicely. That being said, I can see why he's not in the seniors, because would I pick him above the 3 main on-ballers at the moment, Hewitt, Cripps, and Kennedy? No. And would I want to change around Cherrett and Walsh, who do 50%? No, I wouldn't. And I think that is just stiff from the situation that Carlton have occurred. For me, very good, solid game though. And I'll be honest, if he came into the seniors, would I shit myself? Probably not. No, based on the VFL form. But that being said, it is VFL. He does get a lot of the time of the ball, as a lot of these players do. And it would be interesting, just the myriads of the 4th where Geelong really upped the pressure. And going back to the AFL where teams take away that short option. And when you take away the short option, that is a problem. And that is where you see the inadequacies of Dow. The long kicks, the kicks out just randomly, which creates turnover. And when you look at the top sides that average around 30 points from turnover minimum, there's an issue. You saw it against Geelong in the seniors. The 60 will kill you. That being said, though, very good VFL game from Dow, and I enjoyed it. Lockie O'Brien, the man that was probably the stiffest man at Carlton to leave the game. Played about 2 and a bit quarters. He did. They put him on ice. Some of my mates who were at the ground said that it was another one that was a last minute. Said it was one of them last minute just in cases, which worries me because there's been a few this year, hasn't there? There's been a few this year, hasn't there? Which does worry me a little bit with the AFL. I mean, it's good to be prepared. But 18 touches, 16 kicks, 3 handballs, 5 marks. He was an absolute conduit from back to forward. 1 tackle, people are going to complain about it. 3 clearances, people are going to complain about it. But stoppage clearance, that's what you want. He was getting involved. 4 inside 50s, 1 rebound 50. Smartly taken goal. He was everywhere. And honestly, in my humble opinion, we know I like Lockie O'Brien. But watching that game, it was one of them ones where you watch it and you kind of like, I understand and I commend Voss for making some statements at the table, but he's coming back in this week. He has to. And for me, when you look at what Lockie O'Brien does, he keeps his width, which is we struggled to do against Geelong. If he'd played the full game, he would be in the best on ground. He was good. He was in just about everything. Like I say, 4 or 5 of them goals in the first quarter, he was literally part of. Keeps his width, looks to penetrate inside 50, does the right things well. And it's that keeping the width, it allows that spread to take place. I really did enjoy Lockie O'Brien's game. And I was gutted he didn't play the full game because I reckon he could have really got into them 25, 26, 27 touches. And people would have been frothing at the bit. Very good game, and it was a good response, I think. I always look when a player leaves the AFL to the VFL, how they respond. O'Brien did it, and I've seen him being slated, but when you actually understand a winger's role, you can't really slate what he did in the VFL. That to me, is good enough to get back in. Lockie Fogg, 26 touches, 16 kicks, 10 handballs, 5 marks, 4 tackles, 5 clearances, 5 inside 50s, 2 rebound 50s and a behind for his endeavours. I really do enjoy Foggy at VFL level, and he's the kind of player that I think Carlton will keep on the list because I think that the fact that he can play a myriad of roles in the VFL, the fact he's so industrious, that if you ever, heaven forbid, have an injury to a mid, this guy can come straight in. And I love the fact that Vossi's playing him back in the mid. He's no longer a forward, and he works so hard. Do I think he's AFL grade? Probably not, but I do think that when I look at Carlton's list management, I think the biggest issue for Carlton's list management is their second 22 is indefinitely injured or has issues, and Fogg doesn't. And I do think that there's maybe a glimmer there that you can find a role. I think that midfield's too hard to break into, but I really enjoy what he's about, and he works so incredibly hard, and he's not going to cost much, and I would trust him to do a job. He gets involved as well. 4 tackles, 5 clearances. He works really hard ahead and behind the ball, creating options for his midfield, and he's one player that I'm looking and I see him develop weekly. So I really enjoyed his game, and it was a very, very impressive game. Mitchie! It was great to see Mitch McGovern back. Bit slow out of the blocks, I thought. He worked his way into it. You saw his ability to take the kicks on. 4 marks, 2 tackles, 5 rebound 50s, couple of score launches in there. They swung him forward in the end, and he was deadly. He found it. He's got this uncanny ability, which I understand why Carlton play him as an intercept defender, to be able to find the ball. The ball just finds him. And his read on the game is incredible. And it was great to see him out there. And for me, lock to start. And I've been saying this a lot. Top teams don't play lockdown defenders. They play an intercept defender. And I think this is the kid, man. I love what Mitch is about. And I'm back to being a lover. I've got my number 11 shirt just behind me. Big proud. Can't wait to wear that when he returns. Real good hit, good knock from the kid. And if he can stay fit, Carlton have got something here. They've got something. These kind of players win you a flag. And you go back to watch the Geelong game, just imagine having an interceptor when we were under the cosh. That's what this brings. And that's what Geelong do very well. And that's the big separation out of anything, really, is the fact that they've got that danger to kick 60 points from you attacking. And Mitch McGovern offers that. I really enjoyed his game. Well done, Mitch. Welcome back to the first. BRODIE KEMP. Enjoyed BRODIE. He worked really hard. 8 touches, 7 kicks, 1 handball, 3 marks, 2 tackles, 1 inside 50, 1 rebound 50. Bit of a negated role because Mitch McGovern was there. But I love the way that few defenders have his ability. And that's they look really hard for that space. You know, when they've got the ball back. He looks really hard ahead of the ball. Looks to create the outlet. I watch him and I see that Carlton shift him here and there. And I understand. I think a swingman is his role. Do you know what I mean? I really do think that moving forward, you are going to see that type of role from BRODIE KEMP. And I enjoy it. I love the way he works hard on the wings. You see them 3 marks there. He works hard to be that conduit from defensive half. He also works very hard to really inject something in the forward half of the ground. He attacks the ball hard. I'd like to see him for the rest of the season see out the VFL and really play and really refine that forward and down back role. But sometimes I watch him and I think that Carlton lack that conduit, don't they, between midfield and forward. And at the start of the season, they really looked at him more in the forward half of the ground. I think that high half forward has a bit of diligence. I really think train him as the third and train him as the high half forward, and you've got 2 little things there. And I really like that. But BRODIE KEMP just quietly going about his work. It wasn't like a game that you'll write home and tell your ma about, but quietly finding a bit of continuity. And that's what I hope to see from him in the rest of the VFL. Just lock down your role. Then we've got Mcdonald. Great to see him back, and he was dominant. And he didn't take a lot of the major hit-outs in the terms of he wasn't there 100% of the time. Shared the duty with Murkoff, but he battered Segler. In that second when Carlton really gained ascendancy, this kid was everywhere. 15 touches, 2 kicks, 13 handballs, 2 marks, 2 tackles, the 9 clearances. And there's something that the seniors are missing. That ability to win his own pill and really complement what TDK does. 1 inside 50, 22 hit-outs. Ox. And I bet if you had asked Dow, they love having this guy there because he's just a bully. Just gets in the way, blocks space to work in behind. Absolute splendid. Another guy that for me has to play seniors sooner or later. His tap work is phenomenal. And I know we love TDK, so do I. But I think that if you can pinch hit them, one of them does stoppages a bit more. And really look at that Western Bulldogs game in the second where we can throw a spring chicken TDK who now is super, super talented himself. You can really start to mix it up and get that affect that opposition that rhythm that Rooks do. But it was a real solid outing from PeterV. You saw what we missed at times. You saw what we missed, and it was a good reminder. Hey guys, just quickly, we're well past 4,500. If you could do me the great pleasure and the great service of smashing that like button, smashing the subscribe button, and if you want to go a step further, we do wonderful things here. We sponsor Dom, who we're talking about today. We sponsor Shangar, legend of the cheer squad, in her endeavours as captain of the Bull Ants. Can you please subscribe? We're trying to get to 3,000. You can take it a step further, like I say, become a member of the channel. Link is in the description below. And that would be grouse. Back to the video. Ed went off just in the first. Heartbreaking to see. Yeah, he looked bad. The club have now confirmed that, you know, he's probably done for the year, which is heartbreaking. Do you know what I mean? Heartbreaking, and didn't return, and yeah, it looks like he's done for the year now. He was going on all right as well, little Ed. sad to see. Let's hope we get to say goodbye to him in some capacity, whether it's VFL, but I don't think we will. Hopefully the club sorts something out at the end of the year, because what a tremendous servant for the club. Big fan of Ed. Gutted, so can't really grade him, but, you know, while he was there, it was Ed-like. He's everywhere. This kid's engine. Hopefully he sticks around next year in the VFL. I'd love them to give him a VFL contract if that's what he wants to do, or get him in some kind of capacity, because his work rate for a young kid coming from a high draft pick would be incredible, because this guy maximises potential. Big fan. Sammy Durden, 10 touches, 5 kicks, 5 handballs, 4 marks, 3 tackles, 1 inside 50. He's building nicely, and what I like about Sam Durden is he's got a real good understanding of his body. And what I mean by that is, we talked about Curnow and what Curnow did really well in the watch-along, if you watch that. And I said about how Curnow knows when to initiate contact. This guy's on the other foot. He's very smart the way he initiates contact. He knows... You can see he's a wily competitor. You can see that he's been in the system long enough. And I really enjoy what Sam Durden does. It's understated. It's... How would I describe it? I don't want to do him an injustice, but it's kind of like Sam Rowe in the terms of he just gives 100%, and that's all you can ask. And I'm happy for him to be on the list as a backup, because genuinely the guy doesn't get hurt, and genuinely the guy understands the game. And I really enjoyed Sam Durden's game. And he attacks the ball well, and he really looks to take it on out the back, which I really enjoy. There's some real nice moments where he takes it on and looks to really turn defence into attack. So, well played, Sam. I enjoyed your game, mate. Big Dom, my boy. 8 touches, 4 kicks, 4 handballs, 1 mark, 1 tackle, 2 clearances, 1 inside 50. Swung him forward this week, and he delivered, didn't he? I sent him a message just during the game saying, Charlie Curnow, eat your heart out. Took a very, very smart grab. And you can see he enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy the fact he's taking the game on as well. Taking the game on. He worked really smart for his goal as well. Just waited out the back of the contest. Snuck in. Got some footy smarts about him. And that's one thing I'm starting to see with Dom. The footy smarts are getting there, which is really exciting. Good turn of pace, and he gives it a go. And I'm a fan. And this is another thing. There's a few players being trained in this swing role. And I've suspected it for a while. I think Carlton do want a swingman. I think that's an ideal purpose. And I can see it building before my eyes. But very well played, Dom. I enjoy something about Dom. He just makes me smile. He really does. Setterfield, he'll get all the plaudits. 40 touches. Phenomenal. 26 kicks. 14 handballs. 8 marks, 1 tackle, 7 clearances, 9 inside 50s, 5 rebound 50s. And this was, if you're going to give it an AFL role, very Chera-based, his numbers, in the terms of on the ball a bit, around the ground, around the stoppages, particularly played around the ball, which is very like Chera. Comes from wide in centre clearances, but at the stoppages he's there. And he works so hard. And it gives me back-end 2020 vibes with Will Setterfield, that he's found something. And I think a lot of people were underlying him that he was cooked, he was done. Do I think he gets in the seniors? It's a tough one, because I don't think you can fit him in. But he keeps performing here, he'll be banging the door down. And I really did enjoy what he did, but it was a very VFL 40 touches that I'd question, would he have that much space and that much time in the AFL. For the VFL, though, it is one that you raise your eyebrows at, and you go, very impressive. He was very good. He worked really hard both ends of the ground. Would like to see him get a bit more involved physicality-wise. That's still my question with Setterfield. He's a big lad. Like to see a bit more physicality, but the output trumps my little reservations. It was a very, 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 very solid VFL game, and he really was a good conduit, and he was easily the best on ground, I would say, for the full 4 quarters. Just everywhere. And that's really impressive with him. The big takeout is the engine and the work rate from him. Really enjoyed it. Excellent work. And we finish off with Murkoff. Big fan of Merck's. Brilliant. Brilliant for me. He really did acquit himself. And you saw it was a lot easier for him as the second ruckman, which is great to see. 10 touches, 4 kicks, 6 handballs, 2 marks, 5 tackles, 6 clearances, 4 I-50s, 1 rebound 50, 17 hit-outs for his endeavours. And he was real competitive. And again, you really saw in this VFL game, because Geelong aren't no mugs, right? Geelong are no mugs, particularly at AFL level. So it's a decent list. Do you know what I mean? It's a decent list. There's some players there as well. Mitch Nevitt, Segler, Ratacalea, Narkle, Williams. Do you know what I mean? Who are on Dempsey, Neil, them players who are on senior list, Sam Simpson, Dowhouse and stuff. These guys know how to play footy. Do you know what I mean? And Ratacalea and Segler give AFL ruckman a bit of a beef, and he really stood out. He battered Ratacalea, who, got to remember, has played a lot of games as a ruck for Geelong, and he looked able there, and it just shows you what happens if you can match them up at the right times in the right place. Really enjoyed Murkoff, and he's developed a little bit, and that's really exciting to see. Big fan of Murkoff. Excellent game, and he's building quite nicely, and that's what I'm enjoying about him. He's really building nicely, and you saw there, the second ruckman, it's going to really help his development. I don't know if they can keep sustaining it, but maybe next year, if Carlton maybe are a bit shrewd, and they do bring a next ruckman, this will really aid this kid's development, because he will have enjoyed that there, and he will have really taken the game on, which he did, and enjoy the game a bit. A lot easier to learn when you enjoy it. That's the VFL wrap then. Thank you very much for tuning in. Who caught the eye for you? Let me know. Till next time, stay safe. See you tonight. Pom out.